said it twice.
I'm not sure why. Maybe. Chapter 3, let's look at an exposition. God's judgment upon Jerusalem. The general denunciation against Israel of the two preceding chapters are here turned specially against Jerusalem. God will deprive her of all her superiors and more honorable class, and will give her children for her rulers. There will be continued oppression and the rise of an insolent and undutiful spirit. Those fit to bear rule will refuse to do so. In the first 5 verses, let's look at it. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judea the stay and the staff, and the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water. The mighty man and the man of war, the judges, the prophets, the prudents, and the ancient. The captains of 50, honorable men, and the counselors, and the cunning magicians, and the eloquent speakers. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them, and the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor, and children shall behave themselves proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler, and let this ruin be under thy hand. Wow. Verse 7 says, In that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing made, me not a ruler of the people. The stay and the staff. Neither word has the article. The latter is in the womanly form of the former. And the intention is to announce that all support of every kind is about to be withdrawn. The whole support of bread is going to be removed. The whole support of water is going to be stayed. And this clause probably is, you put into it that it's very interesting. The stay or the staff intended are not literal bread and water, but the powerful and respectable classes that's enunciated in the 2 following verses. Verse 2 says, the mighty man and the man of war. The heroes, the warriors. The first rank is given to be distinguished in war as being held in the highest esteem, and perhaps actually under the coming circumstances, the men of the most important in the country. It is thus implied, as later, verse 25 and 26, is expressly taught that the impending visitation will be a terrible invasion. The judges, the prophets, the judges hold his place as one of the highest officers in the state. The prophets hold the lowest position that might have been expected on account of the writer's humility. It says that these men, the mighty man, the man of war, the judges, the prophets, the prudents, the ancient, the captains, the 50s, the honorable men, they are going to lessen their value in the society. The ancient, the elders, the elders had a certain position in the state under the monarchy. The captains of 50 was a period of where they enjoyed life and they took control, and they were among the most valuable in the population in time of war, no less than in peace. And since it was dependent upon them to construct and repair the military, they were regarded as very important. Then there was the eloquent speakers, the expert enchanters, and he said, I will give children to be their princes rather than youth, than children. And it says what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them all away from you. What I'm going to give you is children. Have you noticed that the rulers and the judges, that the kings that took place, they always were young? And they began to reign when they were 5, 6 years old, maybe 12 years old. And that is an indication that the extreme youth of the latter kings of Judah, Hezekiah was only as much as 25 years old when he came to the throne. His son was 23. His son was 22. His son Zacharias was 21. And his son was 18. And Manasseh was 12. And Josias was 8. And so the prophecy was fulfilled to the letter. The babies shall rule over them, literally, shall rule over them. The youth shall behave in childish ways. So you've got rid of the ancients, you've got rid of the prophets, you've got rid of the judges, you've got rid of the captains of the 50s, you've got rid of the counselors. Now I'm just going to give you children that are going to act like children, that are going to behave like children. Because you haven't had respect for your elders, what happens is I'll just give you somebody that's going to just act like kids. And the people, in verse 5, and the people shall be oppressed. Notice in verse 5 it says, and the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbors. It's not, it used to be that you respected your neighbors. You knew your neighbors. Now your neighbors will shoot you. It happened in McDermott. Downtown McDermott. Is there downtown McDermott? A man just got his gun out and didn't like his neighbor and shot him. I think we got friendly people out on the farm, I hope.
I hope your neighbor won't do that to you.
Yeah. You don't have a gun, do you, neighbor? That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
You say she might get one?
It's not unusual for that to happen, but the point, it said that it's going to be widespread, and this is having passed from the upper class to the lower class, and the children, rather than youth, they shall behave themselves proudly and disrespectful, and they will not have any desire for the law. You shall be high and mighty. The counsel of the aged will not be respected. The spirit of Rehoboam shall prevail over that of Solomon, with the usual result of rashness, recklessness, and failure that seems to be the case today among the new children, the new generation. We tend to think that the younger they are, the more proud they are, the more arrogant they are, and somehow they lose the respect of the elders and the older group that have respect. And God says, okay, fine, I'll give them to you. The respect of race, the respect of you used to respect people for who they were. If a doctor showed up, school teachers, You used to respect your school teacher. Now you used to have to say Mrs. by their last name. Now you say Miss by their first name. Because the new generation don't like to be called by their last name. So we are breaking down the classes, and we're all one now. And we have no respect for and so the idea of people just not respecting one another. The eloquent or speaker, rather the expert enchanter. Verse 4 says, I will give children to be their princes, rather youth than children. And in verse 5 it says, and the people shall be oppressed, rather that they will learn not to love each other and have respect for one another. It used to be that if you had a neighbor, your neighbor was very gracious to you. If you needed something done, they'd come over and do it. They cared for one another. They brought you apple pie when you needed it. People, when I was growing up, if there's a cherry tree, we didn't have to cut it down. They just bring us cherries. People brought you, and even in Altoona, they felt so sorry for us. They brought their vegetables to us so that we wouldn't have a garden.
Love and still do that.
You know.
Thank goodness.
This ruined state. They just in verse 6 says, when a man shall take hold of his brother in his house, of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler. Verse 7 says, in that day shall he swear or lift up his voice, speaking with emotion. I will not be a healer, literally a bind up. I will not undertake to heal the calamities of the state. In my house is neither bread or clothing. I am not a wealthy man. I have not stored or laid up. I am quite unfit to be the people's rulers. Make me not. And so people decline to be taken advantage, or they decline to even to run for any office there. Verse 8 through verse 6. Notice it says, for Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eye of his glory. I think if you go back and look at our nations that have run into this kind of ruin, it's somewhere along the line they did have Christianity at one time or another. And sometimes God just says, that's it. The sin of men. Notice in verses 8 through 15 we see the sin of men. They are declared to be partly the person that has caused the ruin. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, and provoke the eyes of his glory. And it says in verse 10, say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. I think I put on Facebook today that God deals with the righteous in the right manner, but there's been, in the recent weeks, there's been this idea that unrighteousness is fully forgiven, and that we should not judge them for what they've been through. And I think we should show grace to people that have been through a lot. But we show grace, but it seems that they seem like that it was okay to be in that condition. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of repentance. I mean, if you've lost your church, you lost your wife, and you've lost your children, and you've lost your respect, it would humble me. Don't you think? I mean, I wouldn't think I would be very proud of that. I like what someone said about this week about the prodigal son. He may have repented when he came back, but he had a lot of work. He had a lot to work. He still wasn't straightened out when he got there. The father had to do a lot of work on him. He still had a mess. He still was in a mess. When he got back, he was in a mess. I don't know how long he was gone or how what he was, but he lived in a mess life. And when he got back, the father didn't elevate him to the very part, we could read light into that. But it seems like when somebody returns to church after living in a life of sin, we want to elevate them to a place of teaching Sunday school class the next week. I've made that mistake. Remember that, Charity? Person comes back and he's living in sin, and next time we had him doing something, to come to find out he was still living in sin. We didn't even know it.